Hello, hello, hello. It is Regretsy, and today we are doing some Mono Red Aggro in Ravnica Allegiance Standard. This deck is pretty infamous just because a lot of people play it, and it is pretty difficult to fight against. If you don't have the perfect opening hand or some removal or life gain, they can easily take over the game. The pros of this deck are that you win or lose very quickly, so it's pretty fast climbing considering the deck has a considerably good win rate. And we are using the new meta list that includes Light Up the Stage and Skewer the Critics in favor of the Rekindling Phoenixes and the Runaway Steamkins and Experimental Frenzy. Light Up the Stage is really powerful. It allows us to pay its Spectacle cost for 1 mana, and we can exile the top 2 cards of the library until end of next turn. You can play those cards. The reason it's so powerful is because you're almost always dealing damage to the opponent, so it's almost always 1 mana. The reason that people don't run Experimental Frenzy in this deck is because you don't want to light up the stage into something like Experimental Frenzy or Kindling Phoenix, because a 4 mana cost is quite a bit whenever you're looking to win quickly. And other than that, Skewer the Critics, you can also pay the Spectacle cost for 1 mana and deals 3 damage to any target, so that is also relatively powerful. We have 4 Wizard's Lightnings, 4 Lightning Strikes, 1 Lava Coil, just as a little bit of protection. And the Wizard's Lightning combos well with Viashino Pyromancer and Ghitu Lavarunner. And Ghitu Lavarunner enters with haste as long as there are 2 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard. Additionally, we have Fanatical Firebrands. It provides a little bit of reach. You can get in some damage early. I do not have a full playset of Goblin Chainwhirlers. I do not have the 2 extra rares to craft 2 more. So in its place, I am playing an additional 2 Electrostatic Fields, and that I feel combos pretty well with the deck considering we have so many burn spells. We also run 3 risk factors. It's either 4 damage right to the opponent, and we can jumpstart it and get more cards in the late game whenever they're down really low, and the mana base is just 20 mountains. So let's go ahead and get into some of the gameplay, and I will see you then. Let's see what we get in this game. Okay. Fanatical Firebrand, Shock Risk Factor, Risk Factor. I think this is fine. Light up the stage, I like to see that. We have a lot of burn slash potential card advantage. Here. They're gonna Thought Erasure me? Let's see. Nope. Discovery. Okay. I feel like if they had Thought Erasure, they would have used it this turn. Or maybe they just don't think it's worth it? I don't know. This allows us to light up the stage. Play our other Firebrand. Let's see. Every time I see Dimir and 3 mana, I always think Thief of Sanity. Nope, Golden Demise. Alright, well we will ping them for 1 damage then. That is okay. Need to remember to play those lands in exile. And while they're tapped out, I'll just Risk Factor. Just so they can't counter it. Although it didn't really matter, because we did have 2 in hand. Okay, so that's quite a bit of damage down. We'll wait until their end step for the next Risk Factor, just to see what they play. See if they counter this one. They do. Oh, we'll just shock them. Still have both of our risk factors in the graveyard and some burn in hand, so it's looking okay. Skewer the Critics is a sorcery. So we'll just shock the main phase and then Skewer the Critics. Then we go Wizard's Lightning on their end step. Or we could Risk Factor and throw it away. I'm not sure what's more worth it at that point, because I could just counter the Risk Factor again. Unmoored Ego. I'll just Wizard's Lightning them in response. I'm assuming they might take Risk Factor. And since they left mana for a counter, I'm not sure that using the Risk Factor and then discarding the Wizard's Lightning would be worth it, just because at that point... Yep, there they go. Because at that point, they just counter it and we get no damage on them. And I think it's better to get them down to 3, so that in case we somehow manage to draw a Lightning Strike or something off the top, it would be pretty nice. Oh, Skewer the Critics, we win. Woo! That was another really good performance. Mono Red does really well in control matchups. I would say that for sure. Makes it a little more bearable to play against control since it's such a grindy matchup normally. Okay, heading into another game of Mono Red Aggro. Let's see what we get in this situation. I don't like this hand. Too expensive to only have 1 mana. If we had 2 mana, I'd consider it. But I don't think we can afford to do this. Alright. Well, at least we can scry. Yep, there's a land. Okay, so we're suddenly in a better position. At least in my opinion. Okay, let's see if they're playing Mono Blue Tempo. Nope, probably Drakes, yeah. Definitely looks like a Drake stack. So we'll get down our Pyromancer, get some damage in. Starting next turn, they can simply just start getting down their Drakes if they have any in their hand. Lava Coil. There's a Lavarunner. We'll play that. We'll hold up our Lightning Strike and we'll Wizard's Lightning. They won't have anything that probably has less than 4 toughness anyway. Huh. Alright. Let's Wizard's Lightning then. Start a course again. They're definitely milling through their deck. Here's the question. Do I want to attack, or do I want to leave this up in case I can just simply kill their Crackling Drake? Probably attack, because it's unlikely that they would use a removal spell in Fanatical Firebrand unless they're afraid of that exact thing happening, where I just sack it and kill the other thing with a Lightning Strike. Arclight Phoenix. Alright. Let that go. And Lightning Strike on the end step. So we're going to Skew the Critics here. And then Risk Factor. Let's see if they take the damage. They do take the damage. Well, I can't afford to take the damage next turn unless they do have some kind of negate or something else in hand. They could potentially have... Yep, there's a Crackling Drake. Do they have the maximized velocity? Discovery. They're pumping up the Drake. They're going to get in again with the Arclight Phoenix. We can sack the Firebrand for 1 damage, and then we only need to do 2. So if we don't draw a burn, we can use the risk factor. They can't pay for it. Oh, there we go. Exactly what we needed. Anything that does burn damage. And we win. Very fast win. Only had 4 mana the entire game, and we got there. Alright, we're heading into our next game with Mono Red Aggro. Let's see what kind of hand we get this time. Huh. This is all spells. And they're all expensive ones too. I don't think we can keep this. I think that we need... I guess that's better. Since they go first, we can get out our Firebrand. I'm gonna crack their Evolving Wilds and get a land, I'm sure. What are they looking for? Mountain. Well, they're definitely not mono red. They wouldn't be running Evolving Wilds otherwise. Rakdos? Maybe Grixis? Interesting that they Lava Coiled the Firebrand. Goblin Chainwhirler looks pretty nice right now. Another Evolving Wilds, so they won't have a 3-drop. If they play a 2-mana creature, we can just Lightning Strike it if we need to. It is Grixis. So I'm gonna go ahead and Lightning Strike their face. And Goblin Chainwhirler. If we get an attack in next turn, this is gonna be really good for us. We can just cast both of our Skewer the Critics and Light of the Stage, if needed. Probably gonna counter the Light of the Stage, if I had to guess. Expansion. Interesting. I got a Sovereign's Bite. Okay. Might as well just go face with these. And we have lethal for next turn if they don't have counters or anything else. Unless they're probably going to use the Sovereign's Bite. If we top deck a burn spell, I'm not sure if we can lose. What are they doing? Row.
Always nice to get out.
So if I had to guess, he's going to destroy the Chainwhirler. Okay, that's fine.
Come on.
Let's attack face. I don't really care about Row if he's only at 1. Once again, if we top deck a burn spell, or if we can't kill both of our creatures, we're going to be in a really good spot. It all depends on what he finds. So, they didn't end up using the Sovereign's Bite. Cry of the Carnage. Yep, and they scoop it up. That was a pretty good performance from our deck. Alright, so some thoughts on Mono Red Aggro. The reason so many people play this deck is just because of how quick the climb is. As you can see, we actually just racked up about 3 wins in about 15 minutes. There are also sometimes some miserable losses where you have nothing going on, no gas left. It's usually best to just concede and move on to the next game, but the speed of the games is a definite pro. If you want to grind games quickly, get a higher rank, more cards from events, Red is a good option. That being said, there's a stigma about playing Mono Red since it's just a tiny bit degenerate. Some of the weaknesses include any kind of life gain-based matchup, also the gate deck in particular. When they're casting 8/8s on turn 4 or 4 to 5 toughness ram on turn 3, there's little you can do unless you already did a ton of damage to them. On the flip side, the strengths include beating down control. There are a few things control can counter that can really put a damper on burn, and they usually take too long to get set up and take over. At that point, they're usually sitting at a low enough life total that 1 or 2 burn spells off the top finish them. That was the meta magic for this week. I hope to see you next week, and leave a comment down below with your feedback.